What is up, YouTube family? Welcome back to another vlog. Thank you for tuning in. Today I am going to tell you about the foods I typically eat in a day on the carnivore diet or keto-carnivore diet, and why. I think there will be some valuable information and reasons as to why. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the upcoming content. It is about 11 a.m. on Wednesday. So my day off, however, I do have a work event later at 4 o'clock, so it's going to be a shorter vlog, quicker day. Got a lot of things to do between now and leaving the house at 3 o'clock to get down to this work event. So it'll be time to eat here shortly. I'm already starting to feel hungry. And again, if you've seen previous material, previous videos of mine, you know that on my off days from work, I generally tend to not time restricted feed or intermittent fast as much or as long as I would normally do on a work day. I think it just throws another variable at the metabolism, at cortisol levels, everything else that goes along with your hormonal responses and your metabolism. I think it's good to switch it up. So on days I don't work and I'm home, I tend to eat earlier in the day, again, just to keep the body guessing. So with that in mind, it'll be time to eat here shortly. I'll show you what I'm having, and then yeah, we'll see you then. Alright, so it is time for brunch, I guess you call it, at 11:05 in the morning. What we're gonna have is some Nellie's free-range eggs. There's 3 left. I'll probably finish that off, and then some pork chops from last night. I'm gonna have one of those 2, which will probably be about 4 to 6 ounces of a leaner protein. So one thing I know, if you saw this, it's free range, not pasture raised. There is a slight difference. Hens free range are allowed outdoor forage, generally organic, vegetarian fed, which probably means corn, organic corn. So certified humane. However, one thing I noticed about the Nellie's free-range eggs, and this is kind of going off topic, is the yolks are still quite orange, which tends to lead me to believe that they're getting a their natural diet from, you know, the nutrients from the grass to produce such a nutrient-dense yolk, which I judge that to be based on the color of the yolk. The lighter it is, tends to be not as nutrient dense from what I'm aware of compared to a darker yolk. If anybody has information to refute that, correct me, please feel free, leave a comment down below. But again, another thing is affordability of the ketogenic carnivore diet, right? So I picked these up at a local grocery store, Publix, here in Florida, and they were $3 per dozen. I grabbed 3 dozen of them. You know, that equates to 25 cents an egg. You eat 3 or 4 at a time, you spend 75 cents to $1 for that meal. Now, pork chops I'm adding, they're organic pork chops, not grass-fed, unfortunately, but lesser of 2 evils. Get organic when possible, and if it's not possible to get grass-fed. And that's going to be about $1 worth of pork. So all in all, I'm going to eat a $1.75 meal now and feel satiated for a long time. So I'm going to get the food cooking. And I'll see you here when it's done. Alright, so I started eating my food, and I know I touched on the affordability of the food as being an important factor in people being able to adhere to a diet or a way of eating, and it is an important factor. It's not, in my opinion, the most important. I'm willing to spend a little bit more money on extra quality meat and eggs when possible in order to get the most nutrient-rich source of that food. And I'll tell you, 80 to 85% of my diet comes from grass-finished meat, red meat particularly, whether it be ground beef or, you know, any other, or cuts of steak, whatever it might be. It generally comes from grass-finished red meat. But again, when I can't find that, I'm willing to eat a protein-rich, nutrient-rich diet, which is why I include eggs when I talk about foods I eat during the day, and why I include eggs in my diet, at least 4 to 6 a day, sometimes even more, because they are so nutrient-rich, particularly in the yolk. A lot of people may have, not a lot of people, but some people may have sensitivities to consuming the white of the egg. And if you find that you have digestive issues or protein synthesizing issues or whatever it might be, autoimmune conditions, then maybe experiment with yolk only if you still want to include eggs. It really is nature's multivitamin, good levels of vitamin A, K, D, dietary cholesterol, and so on and so forth. So that's why I include them in my diet. I include the whites because it is a good source of amino acids, and the processing of the white does not seem to negatively impact me whatsoever. So yeah, they are a staple in my diet. Leaner meats I include particularly because I'm a big believer and proponent of protein to energy ratios. I think if you are struggling with weight loss, it is crucial for you to realize that fat is energy, and the more of it you eat, the less of it your body needs to break down to use. So if you're struggling losing weight, or you're on a low carb diet and think that weight loss itself is about insulin, you're right and you're wrong. Insulin definitely promotes the storage of energy, but if it doesn't have energy to store by means of not eating higher amounts of fat, then you will not store energy. So keep that in mind when it comes to your meat selection, your food selection. Don't just be guzzling down fats. That's why I eat leaner animal food products, because I want to continue to lean out slightly, so I'm not going to consume high amounts of energy. I'm going to let my body do the hard work it needs and expend extra calories breaking down stored fat into what triglycerides, small chain fatty acids, and ketones to be used for energy. So that's that. I'm going to finish this meal and I'll check in with you guys later. Good morning, everybody. It's been a couple of days since the first half of that vlog, and we are catching up. So I prepped my food for work last night. In this Tupperware container, I have about 8 ounces of grass-fed, grass-finished 93.7 ground beef. Again, leaner cuts of food, not spiking insulin from the protein, because for me it's never in excess. Even if I get 200 grams a day, I don't get that insulin spike and crash, that super hot feeling you get from it. So I know I'm eating adequate amounts without overeating it. And the 7% fat is just to keep the energy intake down so I can more optimally use my body fat for energy. If I feel sluggish, feel tired, I up my salt, I up my fat intake. Yeah, but there's still enough nutrients in the fat that's in the meat. I don't cook it very long, so I'm not losing any of most of the fat soluble nutrition that comes in the meat. Now with that, I also have a leftover chicken sausage. I don't eat sausage too often, but we bought some the other day. They were on sale at Publix, and I have a couple left over, so that's going to be another quality, fairly good quality source. They are organic, of leaner protein. And then what I like to do for this ground beef meal from time to time, just to switch it up, is throw a little bit of fried keto rice, riced cauliflower, with 2 eggs, and it's probably about a cup of cauliflower. Again, it's something that doesn't upset my digestion, even though it is a cruciferous vegetable, fibrous. Having a cup of it doesn't upset my stomach, doesn't make me bloat, doesn't make me crampy, gassy, so on and so forth. So I incorporate it from time to time, maybe once or twice a week, just to change up the texture of the food. With that, I will dump in about a cup of bone broth to get it soft. Treat it like a soup almost, and it helps with, for me, it helps with being able to chew the food, digest the food, makes it a lot easier. Now, 95% of the time I'm having that meal without the riced cauliflower, but we made a bag of it last night, an individual bag of it last night, so I'm gonna use the leftovers while they're there. And that is my lunch on a work day. Fairly simple, easy, nutritious. Again, there are 2 whole eggs in there. There is grass-finished red meat in there as well, so I'm getting all my fat-soluble vitamins for the day in their most bioavailable form. Say what you want about the vegetables. I don't think it's going to kill you. I don't think it's too far from ancestral either. I did have a couple dark berries last night after my red meat meal as well. I think in an organic minimally processed way from time to time, you know, like once a week, maybe twice, to satisfy a sweet tooth on a carnivore diet, I don't think there's anything wrong with it or anything that's necessarily not ancestral about including those in your diet from time to time. So that's my viewpoint. Other people will differ from me, most definitely, as I've seen, as I've heard, as I've done more research and been in this diet longer. A lot of people are beef, salt, water, which I'm okay with too. Most of my days are that, but today I'm going to include some rice cauliflower to help with the palatability, a change in texture. It'll be covered in bone broth. So yeah, that's where we're at for today. That's going to be my lunch. That's the reasons why I make these foods, why I eat those foods. Again, generally very easy to make, doesn't take a lot of time, highly nutritious. As you heard earlier, they don't necessarily have to cost a lot. And for example, this meal today will probably be about a $4.50 meal if I was going to estimate, including the cauliflower, the sausage, and the grass-finished red meat. So yeah, that's why I love the carnivore diet. On the days I feel like it, again, adding plants, it becomes more of a keto carnivore diet, but it's still well over 90% meat-based, which are my favorite foods anyway. So yeah, works out for me, works out for the bank, works out for the affordability. Yeah, everybody in the house enjoys it. So those are the foods I eat generally on a daily basis and the reasons why I eat them. So if you learned anything valuable, took anything away from this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you all in a few more days.